Hey guys, Pretzel here, welcome back to another video. In this video, I will be reviewing the Alpha Predator figure, of course, by Neca. This figure, I can't express how happy I am to have it. I did have some issues getting the figure, but I'll explain that more later in the video if I remember to. And before I jump into the review, before anyone asks, I used the code that the figure comes with, so don't ask. I used it, so the code is done. The code for the Predator Hunting Grounds game, I used it already, though I don't even have the game yet, but I still used it, so all I have to do now is get the game whenever it's not 40 bucks, because I'm not paying 40 bucks for the game. Nah. But before we jump into the figure itself, we will go over what the figure comes with. The figure comes with a poster of the artwork that is on the box of the figure. I would unfold it, but I won't be able to show it on camera because it's so large. But that is a thing that comes with the figure. Also, the figure comes with a origin story for the predators, like the predator species, and also Alpha Predator's backstory, kinda. And it is really interesting. I love this. I think Neca did a fantastic job with this story, and whoever wrote it did a fantastic job. So props to whoever made it. You created a amazing story. Next, we will start off with the accessories that the figure comes with, which is a lot, which makes sense because it's an ultimate. The first accessory that we'll look over is the staff. Here, we'll move Alpha Predator out of the way so we can get a fully good look at the accessories. The staff, honestly, I think this is probably one of the best Predator staffs that Neca has ever made. I do like the other staffs that are like more technical and whatnot, but honestly, I think this looks absolutely amazing. It obviously fits Alpha Predator very much. My favorite part of this being this part right here, and this is kind of like a jaw to some larger animal, I would assume anyways. And I think Neca did a fantastic job with making it actually look like bone, and the straps around here look really good, though you can obviously tell that it's obviously made like that. It doesn't actually look like it's actually strapped together, though it does still look really good in my opinion. And there's also that spine that wraps around the staff, which is pretty common for Predator staffs. And there's also this kind of blade looking thing. Not sure what that would be from, possibly from a mangy. I'm not 100% sure on that, though it reminds me of the xenomorph tail in a way, so that's pretty cool. And the figure comes with two pairs of hands. These two right here are the open hands, which are the hands that come on the figure. Currently, I have the fisted hands on the figure because those are usually my default hands for Predator figures, because figures in general, really. I just enjoy the fisted hands because, can't really have a figure attacking another figure with, like something like this, like, oh, I'm gonna slap you. You got to use your fist of fury. But yeah, these are pretty cool, very nicely done by Neca. These would be, of course, for like maybe him having to hold something, or like rest his hand or something, or like possibly for climbing. And he also comes with these two pairs, which are holding. This is kind of like a trigger finger kind of hand, and this is more of like a gripping hand. These both are able to hold the staff. Let's see if I can do it right here. I can kind of get it to hold it, but not really because of the finger. But it does hold it anyways. That's basically the point. And this hand also holds it. Oh gosh. Though on my figure, this hand seems to be extremely loose once you plug it into the arm, which is unfortunate. Though it does seem that this right here, this bone piece, does help sturdy it, so it's not as loose as it would be without it, which is really cool. But again, it still is loose, and I do have the issue with some other hands, though they're not as loose as this one. The other weapon that the Alpha Predator comes with is the sickle. I think this is absolutely amazing, and it's freaking huge. I think Neca did a fantastic job on this as well. This, of course, being like the bone. Not sure what this would actually be from, unless it was kind of like made like that, like they did some kind of engineering to it to make the bone kind of like deform, and so they could make it look like that. And also, I think this looks pretty good too. I think the strap looks a lot more better than it does on the, well, at least this part of the staff. Anyways, the other parts look okay. And this, again, goes into the hands pretty easily, like so. And then we'll do it the other hand. Turn it around. Goes in the hands fairly easy, more easier than the staff. And there's also a holster, not really sure what you would call it, for the sickle. Here, let me get it on closely without having any issues. And there we go. And it stays on there very well because of this part right here that allows it to stay on, which is very nice. I think Neca did that very well. Very good thing. Apologies for the dog barking because, annoying dogs. The next weapon is a Predator throwing star. Here, let me again move Alpha Predator out of the way. It's an interesting thing. I think it looks really awesome, though this is my least favorite of the weapons that Alpha Predator comes with. That is mainly because I really don't know how to get Alpha Predator to hold it. I would assume it was because of these kind of fingers that would like pinch it together to hold it, and he kind of does it, but not really. So I would imagine is you like kind of do it like this. That's just my guess, though it is pretty loose. It easily falls out. So I'm not 100% sure on how that works, though I do think it looks really awesome. The next weapon that the Predator figure comes with is these two blades, which are pretty cool. And you just plug them in right here. Let's see if I can do it without popping anything off. Like that. And then this is usually switched around, but what you do is you just take off the arm, or the hand, I mean. Then you put that on, and then you put the hand back on, and then it looks like this. And that has a hole right there where you can pop the blade right in there, and boom. Now you got extremely long blades, which honestly I'm not really too huge of a fan on the huge blades, which is, you know, mainly for the AVP figures. The AVP figures have very long blades. I'm not saying that I hate it, because I'm always about the Predator blades, but I don't want the blades to be like extremely long. Though it's all right. I don't have too much of a complaint about it. But that is all the accessories. Now we will look at the figure itself. The design of the figure, I think, is absolutely amazing. It's definitely one of my favorite Predator designs. And, you know, of course, the homage to the original Predator design before it got its OP OG look. I don't know, I'm just saying stuff. The skin tone for the Predator, I think it's alright, though the thing that kind of bothers me is the random yellow dots that are all around the figure. I don't think it looks good. I think it looks odd, but it's, you know, it's whatever. They're not too noticeable, but it just kind of feels like it's not supposed to be there, honestly. The paint job for the rest of the figure, for like the armor and whatnot, I think NECA did a fantastic job, especially on the armor itself. On the helmet, I do think that there's a bit of an orange issue right here. I'm not sure 100% if that's what it's supposed to look like. You can't really tell on my camera because my camera's not the best, but it's odd. Though it's not really noticeable, so it's not big of an issue. I actually like this kind of fur clothing that Alpha Predator has. Very primitive, and I think it looks, and it, you know, it obviously fits Alpha Predator very well. And I think it looks really cool. And, you know, on the front side of it, it has like kind of like a skull kind of thing, and then you got like, I think it's like, pretty sure this is part of it. It's kind of like a belt part. Not really sure about that. And then like the bone blades, I think those look really cool. Again, with the staff and the sickle, as well as the throwing star. I think NECA did a fantastic job with the bones and making it look actually like real bone. And I think it looks pretty cool. The design itself, I don't have any issues with the design itself. Let me back it up some. Though my only issue is the hair. I'm not too big of a fan of the hair. I'm also not really a big of a fan of this big back piece. It's all right, I guess, but it just, it just looks weird, depending on how you look at it. Though the hair, I'm not a fan of the hair. It looks odd, though it does make sense for what this Predator is, because it does look like a kind of tribal, primitive hairstyle. And it's mainly this part right here that kind of looks so odd, but I don't know. And the straps that like kind of like bend that like hold the hair together, or that hold the hair together, because it's obviously made to be together, and they just did that to make it look realistic. Though the paint did get on the strap a little bit right there, which is, it's not too big of a deal. And taking off the mask to get a better look at the mask, I think the mask, I wasn't sure about the mask at first. I thought it looked a bit odd, though it does actually look pretty cool. I think it's actually better on the figure than, it just being there. But the Predator face, I think, looks pretty good. And the eyes are actually looking straight, though you can't tell on my camera because my camera sucks. And I also like this kind of like beastie kind of, that he has like weird kind of other teeth that are on his mandibles, kind of making it look like he was genetically engineered, which, you know, obviously he was. Again, but with the like the yellow dots, though that looks a bit odd. Not a fan of that. The helmet does go on the figure pretty easily, though it is a bit difficult to get on the figure, or at least at first it was for me. But once you get it on and you do it multiple times, then it's pretty easy to get it on. Going over the articulation. Oh, actually, I didn't even talk about the blades too much. The blade weapons, I thought there was 4 of them, but it actually turns out there's 5. There's this one, there's this one, and then, you know, this one being the big one, and then the other big one being right here. But if you take off the bone piece right here, see if I can take it off, it reveals this hidden blade that the figure has. Also, you can do this, which is the primitive way of the blade moving, because you know how there's like shing, you know, that's usually how Predator blades are. Though the hidden blade is a bit small, it's still there, and you know, I've seen some reviewers acknowledge it, but not too many be like, hey, you can actually take this piece off and use that as a blade. So I thought I would mention that for those who aren't aware of that. And this piece does come on pretty easily, so if it ever falls off and you're like, oh no, it easily comes back on. Though it looks a bit odd, because you can see right here, this is like sticking out more than this part. So I'm not sure if I put it in wrong or not, but I don't know. Alright, now into the articulation. The articulation is pretty fantastic on this figure. You can get the head to look up pretty far, though you might have to adjust the hair a little bit to make it look up farther. And you can get the figure to look down pretty far, though this chest piece right here does kind of get in the way of the head looking down any farther. The arms and the plastic on this figure is really soft, so it makes the articulation much more easier. You can get the arms to go pretty straight, making it kind of like a T-pose, which is fantastic. Also, in the elbow, it is kind of like a double jointed elbow, though I've seen in kind of like recent Predator figures, they have here, see if I can show you, like a double thing going on. Like there's one right here and then there's another right here to bend it, like that does like that, and then the other one makes it bend in more, which is pretty cool, as long as it doesn't pop off the wrist a million times like my future Predator does, that has that issue. But I haven't had that issue with this one, so that is amazing. Then the wrist, I will use this one as an example because it's a lot more easier, can go up and down, though the blade will kind of get in the way of that, and you can obviously spin it 360, and it doesn't really have any pivot to it, so that's that. And you can also move the armor around to get into other poses, and you can get the figure to look up about that far with the ab crunch, and you can get it to look down pretty far as well, which is pretty cool. And you can also get the figure to do that, and it is a kind of, I think it's a ball joint, pretty sure it's a ball joint, to get that range of motion, which is pretty curious. And the legs go out pretty far, kinda almost split. I'm pretty sure they can go out farther than this, but I don't want to push it too much and end up breaking the figure. That would suck. I did think that one of my legs were loose, because it did kind of seem like it. I think this part right here might be a little bit loose, but it stands pretty well, though I might need to get a Neca stand to get it in some poses where he would be on one leg, in like running poses or jumping poses or any other kind of poses. Mainly helping out for stop motions, because I really want to make a stop motion with this figure. The knee goes as such, which is fantastic. A lot of joint with that. And it's pretty, like I said, it's a bit loose. And it also do this. And it kind of kicks in a little bit, but not too much. And you can kick the figure up like that. You can kick it back like that. And there's also this where you can just basically break his leg. And the ankle articulation is decent. Well, I guess I would say more than decent. It's pretty good, and popping off and whatnot. Let me pop it back on. Like I said, it is extremely hot out here, so it is difficult to not pop off joints when you're having a figure and doing a review in the hot weather. So that is basically my review for the figure. It's not my best review. I've had some issues with this review. It's because it's pretty hot out here and I don't have a perfect setup to do reviews, so I do apologize for this review kind of sucking. But here's a comparison to a recent Predator figure that I picked up about 2 weeks ago. Because, I felt like it. Because I do kind of like this design. I'm not a huge fan of it. And I know 90% of Predator fans aren't a fan of it. And the headlights pop off too, which is, fun. That's why I don't really like this figure too much now. Because it likes to pop off so much. But if I can get the figures to, stand, that'd be nice. Without knocking it over. Please. Come on. Just stand. Thank you. So there's the two figures side by side. You can obviously see Alpha Predator is much more of a larger figure. I would say mainly around the AVP figure height, which is more of the taller Predator figures. Obviously not as tall as the Assassin Predator, but yeah, it is. I think the Assassin Predator is about right here to Alpha Predator. I can't really say for sure because I don't have the figure on me because I have not at my house, but I'm happy to have the figure. I'll probably hopefully be able to do a stop motion with it, but I'll see what I can do. I'm definitely not doing an outside stop motion because I'll probably die due to a heat stroke or something. But excuse me, moving that out of the way, there is my review of the figure. I hope you enjoyed. This isn't really a good review, but I tried my best. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you liked it. If not, then that's your opinion. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.